Hey, welcome to another episode of Violent Minds. I'm Mark Chauppetta, your resident private dick, and I'm here with
Dr. Keith Ablow, the resident forensic psychiatrist. Ours are the violent minds,
yes.
But we also I think about the other violent minds out and about around us.
You paused for a second. Were you in deep thought, or did you forget your name?
Did I paused? I didn't notice that. That's the kind of thing. Maybe it's long COVID. But I haven't had COVID, so then how do you get long COVID? Unless it's the immunization.
You had COVID. You may have had COVID. You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. Exactly.
Right. So
what does your T-shirt say today? Hardest what? Hardest
worker.
Worker? Cool. Oh, that's great. I love it.
I am one of the highest workers.
That's very cool. That's what you'd wear to an interview for, like, working on an oil field or something. Right? Be like, read the T-shirt, dude.
You have a bunch of plain sweaters and I have a bunch of T-shirts.
Hardest worker. I like that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because this is an Under Armour. I like Under Armour stuff, but it's put out by someone that I'm not a super big fan of. It's his line of clothing, The Rock.
Who's that?
Dwayne Rock Johnson.
Oh yeah, got it.
So it's
that's why it has the
Dick's has a contract with them. So, but I like their stuff. It probably wouldn't work for you, but it works for guys like me with the athletic build.
Thanks. I was actually thinking that you're probably getting like $100 a month or something from to wear it on our podcast, but I don't know. If you've got a secret deal, please, come forward with it. If I'm supposed to get part of that, I think. But in any case,
well, I mean,
the glasses are probably sponsored by Gandhi Wear.
Or you know what? I got so many readers. I'm gonna go in and try to get LASIK done, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I've thought about it. They have the raindrop procedure, which is for people that just need readers. So
the raindrop procedure.
Yeah.
I like all these ways that they brand these things, the raindrop procedure.
Right.
That's what I was missing as a psychiatrist. I should have had like the pitter patter procedure to change your life.
Raindrops.
I don't know. Raindrop
sounds gentle and a nice rainy day.
Cutting into your cornea.
Right.
They're like taking a knife or a hot laser, and they're creating gashes in your cornea called the raindrop procedure. Very nice. Raindrop procedure.
They're trying to make it sound sexy. So today is actually 2222.
Yes. 2222.
Go lay down. I'm talking to my dog. She's just like pacing around. Go lay down.
Oh, so sweet.
So it's also my wedding anniversary today.
Oh, congratulations. This is your second marriage.
Third.
Third. I know. I always give you the benefit of the doubt. Third marriage.
Something like
third
that,
time's a charm. That's beautiful, man. But when I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, so when you do it, say, for a third time.
Yes.
Right? Just because, I like to plumb the depths of your psyche.
Yeah.
When you do it for a third time, the prior two times, no doubt you did it with great optimism and a sense of finality.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. This is it.
Yeah, I didn't get married because I knocked someone up.
Well, I know that. I wasn't even going there. But I was giving you the benefit of the doubt that when you entered into these unions, you assumed it was for life.
For a decade.
Okay, at least. But when you do it for the third time, are you similarly convinced at that point, look, this is it?
Yeah, you know what? And I'm not, I'm doing this Violent Minds, violentminds.com. If you want to check out Keith and myself podcast on my anniversary evening from my house. I'm home alone with my dogs because my wife is happens to be continuing her education, which I think I've mentioned on other broadcasts. She's a nurse, and she's so she's in school on our anniversary, and she was going to kind of like call in sick to school, and I'm like, look, I have a podcast.
Go.
I have a podcast. Go.
I have a podcast. But this is a long way of you avoiding my question, which is when you exchange vows, but for the third time.
Yes.
Are you internally at odds with yourself, thinking, how can I even do this? Like, how can I take myself seriously, let alone those gathered with me here today? Aren't they thinking, yeah, but he said this twice. He said this.
Right on my face.
Right? Like, aren't they like, yeah, all right, Mark said this a couple times. No, I'm just wondering, because I'm divorced.
Well,
and
the
then,
reason I was smart enough to know the third time that there were no people gathered with us other than the justice of peace, because we did the third one remotely on the beach. So that was part of our, because she was married before. This is my third marriage, and I actually had a decent sized wedding at marriage 1 and marriage 2. So I'm like, I could just, and I asked my wife, Janice, I said, look, I don't want to gyp you out of something if this is what you want. But she said, no, absolutely not. Let's just go down we went to Miami, Biscayne Bay, got married there, beautiful justice of the peace. So therefore, and we didn't even have a party. We didn't want gifts. We didn't want money. Yeah. We didn't want anything, because I've already put people through this twice before, and I didn't want them saying what you just said, so that I was being thoughtful of those others.
Right. No,
I still haven't answered your question.
I feel like, I really do. I feel like a cross-examining attorney and I want to go to the judge and say, Judge, please instruct the witness to answer the question, please. So do you have an internal sense of angst, or any sense like, Jesus, how can I possibly
do it again?
Not do it again, but like, were you thinking in the back? And I don't want to get you in trouble with Janice tonight.
She's cool,
right? But
don't watch this tonight.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
But were you like thinking like, well, maybe I might as whatever. Let's say whatever you have to say. Like sometimes you go into CVS to buy a Hallmark card.
Yeah.
And you're like, look, am I going to try to find the exact right one that captures just how much I love this person, or should I just get the most effusive one? Right. And who cares? I mean, why does it have to be so accurate? Did you have a sense as you were exchanging the vows? Well, look, everyone knows we'll do our best. We'll do our best. Maybe that's what the vows should say. Look, I'll do my best.
Yeah, you know what the great thing about her is that every time I tried to, I guess, talk about my past or my history or being married before, and kind of, I wouldn't say putting myself down, she would just be like, I'm divorced also, I have kids also, who cares, so she's super cool, and yeah. There was a connection immediately when we dated.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yes, that's good. You want to get into the history. I just want to know whether when you were exchanging the vows, did you have any feeling internally like, this is craziness?
No.
Okay, you believed it.
I live in the moment.
That's beautiful.
I live in the moment. There's your answer.
Okay, that's the answer.
I live in the moment.
I live in the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good. All right.
I'm an impulsive person. Like, let's get married. I live in the moment, it is what it is. And
let's get married. I don't want to be too shrinky about it, but I do wonder, what do people mean by that? Like, what do they really mean by that? Let's get married. Because what they really mean is, let's involve the state in the most intimate relationship that we'll have in our lives. I mean, other than kids.
Some city public official to sign off, who we don't know, to sign a marriage certificate that we don't even know if it's real.
And some, bust out losers down at the State House
Yeah.
to collaborate on changing the laws that
Yes.
govern our relationship such that we have to roll with it as they change.
The health insurance. That's the reason why we got married.
Health, oh, well, that's interesting. Health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her answer. Health insurance. I needed health insurance.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Well, that's not a terrible reason,
No.
really.
Expensive.
But I mean, I think, huh?
It's too expensive to to get a health insurance plan through my detective agency. So I went and seeked out a beautiful woman who had an amazing HMO Blue.
Well, the other thing that it does do is like when you come home, right, and you're with your spouse, there is this feeling, whether it is for absolutely ever and, knock on wood, it is, or it turns out not to be, God forbid.
Yeah.
There is a sense like, okay, this is our life.
Yeah.
This is like our life. It's not like when you have a girlfriend you're living with, she might just walk out at any time.
Right.
You might, it's like, okay, get a moving company and we're done. This is much more involved. It does give you a sense like, well,
maybe years ago,
we're going to fight for this.
Yeah, maybe years ago. I don't think necessarily now marriage is like that. I think it's just too easy to get a divorce, and too easy just
Yeah.
I think so many people in society just give up and walk away and get divorced that, it's created this kind of culture of people where it's like,
okay, we'll get divorced. I found it to be
divorce.
torture myself. I thought it was torture. I thought it was craziness. Like I felt like I had a sense of almost like an out of body experience at the court.
Yeah.
Where I was like sitting separately from my spouse.
Yeah.
And I was like,
both times too.
I felt like this is so bizarre. Like, are we gonna like leave the courtroom and say, well, okay, yeah, let's just go home, honey.
Right, I wonder how people actually just retreat at that point and say, you know what, let's try to make this work. But
that's a show idea that I have, by the way.
Yeah.
That's a show idea that we could do also. We have this show, we could do another show. Yeah, I wonder whether if you decided for folks who are just about to go in and see the judge.
Yeah.
If you intervened at that point and said, look, guys, let's give it 1 month. Let us work with you.
Right.
You might be able to salvage some number of relationships.
Maybe the ghosts of Christmas past and present come in, and it's kind of got that Ebenezer Scrooge feel, and you take them through the good times. And I mean, again, I'm
the bad times actually.
Yeah, so I'm friends with my first wife and my second wife. My first wife, we have children together.
You're still sleeping with both of them?
No. Yeah, no.
No? You told me you were.
No, I did. All right.
No, you didn't actually. I don't want to get you in too much trouble.
I have children with my first wife. My second wife's an attorney. Occasionally we send bounce cases off each other. It is what it is, and
if the three of them got together, say on your birthday, and said, let's all be together, the four of us, would you say no?
For my birthday, if they all wanted to get together?
like let's all sleep over together. Would you say sure, or would you say no?
No.
You'd be the one to say no.
Yeah, I respect my wife too much.
No, what if she said, honey, it's your birthday, I called your exes.
Why would I want my exes? I mean, there's plenty of other
This is not what you tell me off. No, I'm only kidding.
There's plenty of other people to choose from.
So here's
anyways, today's my fucking anniversary, asshole.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, thank you. And my wife's at school. I asked her yesterday, I said, did you get me anything for our anniversary? She said no. I said, great, because I didn't get you anything. We'll go out to dinner.
Well, she's still on an allowance in high school, right?
Yeah, right.
No, just kidding. Yeah.
We'll go out to dinner this weekend. We'll celebrate. Maybe I get lucky tonight if I'm not sleeping.
You won't be sleeping. You won't be sleeping. You've got plenty of energy. But here's a secret for our viewers and for you.
Yes.
I had a secret weapon for how to, when people would come to me and say we're thinking of getting divorced, right? Often because of infidelity.
Yeah.
You would think that one of the countervailing arguments would be, hey, wait a second, guys, like, okay, so she's cheating. I get it. She was cheating.
Yeah.
But think of all the great times you've had together, right?
Mhm.
And you'd think that might be an argument, but I learned that the opposite argument is the one that sometimes got people to reverse course. So I would say, let's say the husband had found that his wife was unfaithful and is like, I'm leaving, that's it.
Yeah.
And I'd say, oh, okay, interesting, good, that's your plan. So if God forbid your wife gets a bad medical result from a test,
Yeah.
it's okay by you that some guy named George is going to go take her for treatment.
Mm,
Oh,
right.
you get guys blown back in their, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, no, you're done. You just told me, Steve.
Right.
You're done. And right, sometimes people would say, oh, gee, I guess I'm screwed, right? Like I care about her. I'm like, yeah, you're screwed because you're hurt, but you love her. Now let's get going here and fix the relationship instead of your idiocy
Right.
about leaving over infidelity. By the way, I think people who leave over infidelity are moronic.
But that's almost 100% of why people leave over
Infidelity. I mean,
Well, cure that, then you're going to put a lot of probate and family attorneys out of business. I have a couple of friends that got divorced and then
over that.
got divorced, right, to their spouse over whatever, and then got remarried again years later to the same person.
Bob Crow. Okay, so Bob, I mean, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be calling him up, but he's not a client, but he was the attorney for Senator Kerry. Married the same woman 3 times, divorced her twice.
Well,
married her 3
Why
times.
not just live together and never make it official? That way you don't have to deal with all the paperwork and all the bullshit that goes with court and all the filing fees and the division of assets. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons when it comes down to divorce. It's assets.
There is something very beautiful about a story like that, though. I mean, there is something about, it's like, it's at least it's interesting. It's something that you tell your great grandchildren. Nana and I, we're married 3 times. I'd focus on the marriages rather than the divorces. I would say, I love her so much. I married her 3 times.
Right. You know what's also happening tonight?
Heavyweight champ. No, I don't know.
No, Monumental. My stepson, who I love like he's my own son, my wife's oldest son, and his wife, my daughter-in-law, who I love like my own child as well. She's at the hospital right now, getting ready to give birth.
What are we doing on this podcast?
Well, first of all, yeah, she's.
Dude, I got nothing going on tonight.
she's
that's why I'm with you. You're going to be a grandfather, and
Yes.
it's your anniversary.
Yes.
And you're hanging out with me.
Right. I may not be a grandfather tonight though, because she's
Okay.
They're inducing her, and it could take a day or two.
Well, congratulations, Muzzle Tov, as my people say.
Right. And guess what I'm going to be called?
Oh, what are you going to be called? Rocky.
That's not a bad idea. I should have.
That's so
her.
great. I would be
Right.
called Rocky if I were you. Yeah.
I'm Grumpa.
Grumpa.
Yeah.
Not bad. I like it.
It's a new trendy way to kind of like give, a backhanded compliment type.
I like it. I like it. Rumpa is good too. Grumpa is good. I like Rocky.
Gurmpa, I guess, is what I'm going to be called. Grumpa.
You can't determine these things. I think whatever they give you is a great honor. So that's really great. I like it. Because there's another grandfather in the picture.
No, I'm pretty much the only grandfather.
Did her prior husband pass away, or?
He's around. He's just, kind of, what do you want to call it? A shitbag. I mean, to put it bluntly, just he's around. He just hasn't been very active.
That's awful. That's so sad. It's sad for him.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it tonight. tomorrow, the next day, whatever his grandchild will be born, he's not involved.
I wish he
His
was,
life.
and I'd love to be friends with him. And you know, I mean,
Does he know? Does he know?
I think so. I believe so. I've never met him. Never met that. I mean, he's around. I see him on Facebook, but I've never met him. So, you know,
I wonder if he knows that she's having a child.
I think it's his son. So it's his son.
Oh, it's his son. Right. Good. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And I'm sure, you know, but I've kind of,
God, people have such fractured lives.
I've stepped into the role. Like I kind of step into that role with everyone. I'm kind of like everyone's uncle, brother, father, cousin, best friend. Just
That's nice. You're easily cast in a supporting role, if you
I
will.
like helping people. I like giving advice. I like, you know, I mean, I think I've lived enough life to be able to give decent advice to the younger generation of the world. So
Yeah, that's nice, actually. Very nice. I like that. I like that too. So, you know, I was going to say about the Rocky thing, and that I was joking, maybe there's a heavyweight fight tonight. This guy, why do we not have more politicians like the mayor of Kyiv, Ukraine? Just to segue over to Ukraine, because we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Trying to invade my brain. So let's talk about the
what is he like, Klitschko, right? He was the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
And united all these boxing titles, and he's mayor of Kyiv. And like half our mayors are like
Vladimir
snowflake losers. Where they've got this guy who like it would be like having Mike Tyson as mayor of Boston. You'd be like, Iron Mike is running for mayor of Boston. How many votes can I cast for this guy?
But Trump, for all his flaws, was sort of, I guess, to like NATO and the world and everyone, was sort of that heavyweight champion.
He was that guy.
You just didn't want to fuck with him. Because
no, you definitely don't want to screw it. Don't pull on Superman's cape, I used to say.
Right.
Like, don't do that. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Whose lyric was that?
Don't pull on Superman, don't spit into the wind. I don't know. Air supply? No.
Yeah, fucking air
I'm culturally illiterate. I don't know these things.
Jim Croce.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Good.
Oh, he was really good.
More your era, less my era, but still my era.
Yes, right. But I always used to think of his lyrics, not knowing it was his, but like,
don't spit.
You're just gonna hurt yourself. Don't do that unless you're really gonna go nuclear. Don't attack Trump. He'll decimate you.
I think with everything that's going on, and you know, you're the political guy. I'm the investigator, so I'm newly becoming a political person. I'm trying to enjoy something I've never really enjoyed. I've never really enjoyed politics, so I'm really trying to branch out. And
well, you ran for office, didn't you?
I did run for office, but I ran for.
You're like a study in contradictions.
But I ran for office, but I ran for selfish reasons. I ran because I thought if I got into the state house and I could legislate, I can make some changes when it came to my kids and their disease and things.
Well, that would be wonderful.
So it was less about the people of my district and more about my own selfish needs, and therefore I lost. But I didn't run on that platform. But I'm trying to become more of a political savant, and just again, I do it based on common sense and based on what I see and I try not to just take my lead from the conservative news.
Right.
It seems as if Trump was in office still, this shit wouldn't be happening. You know, I think Putin's kind of he wants to put the empire back together. You know, I think he's found a crevice to go through, and he sees weakness in Biden, and I think this is his opportunity. He's getting older. He's 75 years old or whatever he is, and I don't know. I mean, I think this is also Biden's potential shining moment in his legacy of his presidency, is how he handles all this. Now, he went on the news today, he talked tough, he's issuing all these sanctions, XYZ. So this could be, is he going to act as tough as he's talking? You tell me. I don't know.
Well, number one, I wish he would act as tough with the border with Mexico as he does with the border with Ukraine and Russia. We
Yeah.
would have liked that, right?
Right.
Like, I don't get it in
Right.
that sense. Secondly, I think Trump would have been able to communicate with Vladimir Putin and say, listen, we understand your concerns. Those concerns, as far as I can tell, being, yes, you lost 20 or 25 million people in World War II when your Western border was breached by the Nazis.
Right.
And our intentions are good, but you see NATO cozying up to your Western border and it freaks you out.
Right.
Okay. So what can we do to reassure you to work together? Let's work together. Let's get some things done in the world together that will enrich your nation and ours. And let's not get into this sideshow here with Ukraine. Let's leave it for another day, or something like that. I think he would have been able to say, look, let's do good things, because if you go over there, dude, I'm going to bankrupt your nation.
Mm-hmm.
You're going, I've got this bag of goodies for you, and I've got this gun.
Care about these sanctions. It's like threatening a child who, you can tell him so many times you're going to ground him, and he just doesn't seem to give a shit after.
I'm concerned about it. I mean, you got to do something, I suppose, but the whole psychology here is that the nation and he feel castrated.
Right.
They feel as if they had this empire brewing, and then we cut their balls off.
Right.
Right. And now he's like, well, wait, now you want more than that. You want to start with NATO moving into Ukraine, maybe, and you won't promise not to ever. Okay. Right. So the question is, a guy like that, you back a Rottweiler into a corner. It's like, we don't need a nuclear war over this. And I'm not sure that President Biden has the chops, frankly, to be that nuanced. They used to say that Trump was a bit guttural and, ate Big Macs and all this. But man, I mean, he was a consummate deal maker, and he's a genius.
Right.
I don't think anybody gets to be president who's dumb.
Right. Right.
Period. Most people, but I don't think Joe Biden is Donald Trump.
Right. And most people in the Ukraine, they didn't live under the Russian rule. There, it's been so long. They want democracy over there. But I think Putin sees the divide in our country right now, and he's trying to make his move, because he sees weakness. From what Biden is saying is, we're not going to really send troops over there, right? Is that how? I mean, where Trump probably would have done the opposite, right? It said, make a move.
I think he would have said, don't make a move, because there's so much we can do together. Work with NATO, and then, yes, let's give you some reassurance that we're not going to embrace Ukraine to the extent that you feel like the United States and NATO has set up shop right next to you. I get it. It would be sort of like Russia deciding, you know what, I think we'll just, no worries. We'll just do some testing of some weapons in Mexico. Yeah. And and just, no worries, just have some troops of ours in Mexico. We'd be like, how about no? Right.
Well, you asked me earlier about if about my two exes and, inviting and them, whatever your warped fucking head was going down.
I was picturing you, just to be clear, I was picturing you with 3 wives together for an intimate night.
Well, if you want to picture me with 3 wives, there's going to be plenty of Ukrainian refugees. So
yeah, I know. Why is that like legend that Ukrainian women are supposed to be so alluring and beautiful, said to be very beautiful?
They all look like Ivan, for a Rocky quote, they all look like Ivan Drago's Bridget Nielsen, who played Ivan Drago's lady in the Rocky.
Right. She had that short, spiky hair, though. That never did anything for me. But yeah, I get it.
It was an 80s thing. But so, I mean, I think at this point right now, maybe what Biden has failed to tell us or the American people is what's going to now happen if they invade and if they go to war. It's going to change a lot of things in this country. And Biden got on the news today and said, you know what, we're going to have to sacrifice if this happens. The American people are going to sacrifice. He's going to try to have the cost of that sacrifice go to them and not us. But almost like, why should we have to sacrifice for something that could have been fixed or solved for your mistake?
Makes no sense.
Because there's all the issues. I mean, basically, doesn't this all come down to energy at the end of the day?
Well, I think that's a big point but Trump had said that. He said, why are you, he said to the Germans, why are you buying oil or gas or whatever from Russia through this pipeline? We're supposed to be allies, right? Like he was just almost arithmetic in his view of the world. He's like, what are you doing?
The art of the deal. He was just a smart businessman, and he would have worked it out like it was, let's talk about it.
He would have just said to Vladimir Putin, dude, don't get distracted. Let's make money. Okay. Right. Let's make money. Your people, you need to get them to be happy with you. You don't want to court disaster, have your people suddenly turning on you. You can't kill all of them, right. Vladimir. The other thing is you could send Hunter over there, send Hunter Biden to Kyiv and have him make a speech. And, they might not want to mess with him.
He'd do better than Kamala did. But
he would do, what? He would be eloquent, charming, and he might pull it off strangely.
So if this war happens and this spills into, spills into some of the NATO allies, then don't we have like legal obligations to help defend? And doesn't that mean we have to send our troops? And doesn't that mean casualties? And doesn't that mean we spend more money on defense? And, and that all trickles back down to the American people, and it hurts our wallet.
Well, that's the problem, because I mean, at a certain point, Americans have, you're great. That's why we can't
realize I have cheat sheets all in front of me right here.
That's good. I like that. You take the LSAT that way too. They give it virtually now. Yeah. I mean, that's why I think it's, like walking a tightrope. Biden can't have US troops engage with Russian troops, or there's going to be, God forbid, a world war. Right. But, Americans are not without heart and empathy. So even if it is murky as to like the Russian-Ukrainian history and whether NATO did sort of fib to Russia, if he goes in there and he starts annihilating his political opposition and, killing people with alternative, there's supposedly, I mean, who knows if it's, propaganda, but like a hit list that he has generated. He wants to liquidate or, mass killings of people of alternative sexual orientations, all crazy stuff like that. If that stuff gets to be known or be done, then, you have to say, well, where does America draw the line? I guess you supply arms to Russia's enemy. At that point, they're at war with Ukraine. You start supplying them with all sorts of arms. You're in a real tinderbox, because at what point does he say, you know what, let's take down a bit of the grid in America, or let's invade the cybersecurity of these four companies.
Right, and that's what everyone's worried about, the Russian disinformation campaign. And I mean, what's that going to do to us?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. I mean, we're ultimately, we were, at least before we became snowflakes, willing to endure anything. The question is for what,
Right.
right? Like Ukraine is not America. So there's that. And sure, we don't want any horrors perpetrated whatsoever.
Right.
But I just wish this could have been avoided by saying, okay, let's call it a neutral zone.
Yeah.
I don't see why we couldn't have said to him, as to NATO not embracing Ukraine, if you don't invade or monkey with their borders, no worries. You need to feel reassured, have at it, okay? For the next X years, it's off the table.
Well,
fine. Then if you invade, I think Trump could have said to him, okay, it's off the table for 25 years. You invade sooner than that, I'm going to just utterly destroy you.
Right. Right. Do you remember being a kid and being so fearful of a nuclear war?
We used to, I mean, which made no sense, but the drill would be to get under your desk.
Yeah.
Huh? Right? Yeah, right. Get under my desk. Even I knew back then, like, well, we're screwed if that's the plan.
Right. Wasn't there that movie Red Dawn or something with
Red Dawn, The Day After.
the day of yeah, what was it? Yeah, it was I mean, it was a scary time when we were kids growing up, and I think it's could be potentially scary times again. You know, Ukraine has her hands on all those Russian missiles and nuclear
I'm
power.
more, I'm more afraid of the woke lunatics in the United States Congress than I am of Vladimir Putin. I'm more afraid of AOC than I am of Vladimir Putin. She's destroying us from within.
Right.
At least he's assembling. I mean, I don't want him to do it, but at least he's visibly assembling tanks with Z's on them and all this shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that's our enemy for Ukraine. And to an extent for us now. With AOC and Nancy Pelosi.
But he sees that we're being destroyed within.
Yeah.
And that's fueling his power to maybe make this move.
Well, I mean, it saps, not only are these people without the wherewithal to really do what they say and say what they do and do it for the right reasons, but they dispirit, these liberal lunatics dispirit, if we let them, the rest of us. So you say to yourself, am I willing to die for a country where you can go down to Boston's Children's Hospital and arrange, starting at age 8, for your boy to become a girl? And if you say the wrong thing to the pediatrician, like, this is not happening, they'll call DSS, Department of Social Services, and remove your parental rights. Do you want to die for that lunatic fringe country called America? Well, we better get our heads straight so that it is worth dying for.
Well, that's a good, that is a good segue and something that I know a little bit more about. You know, again, viewing audience, violentminds.com. If you ever have any questions about the private eye world, I actually am a private investigator, a private detective, and handle over 400 criminal cases a year, and have done everything all over the country and the world. But for some reason, I'm branching out a little bit.
Over 400 cases a year?
I do about 400 criminal defense.
So what's the average revenue from a single case? That, I mean, those are big numbers you're talking about. I mean, I'm just wondering about a loan from you to me.
It depends if it's district court level or superior court level on the state level, or it depends on if it's a federal case.
I get it, but dude, 400
is. I'm not answering your question.
There's no way that a private investigator is sending out a bill for $90. So if you got 400 cases, you got to. I mean, that's a. No wonder you have exposed beams.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
And it's similar to when you were doing some of the forensic
psychiatry, right?
So I'm a vendor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, where I live.
Yes.
And in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we have the Public Defender's Office, the Bar Advocate is what they call them.
So see, right.
It's Committee
They
for
hire you.
Counsel. They fund the indigent court cost fund. So they
Yes.
basically, you, me, everyone in the state of Massachusetts, and our tax dollars help fund money for investigators, experts like yourself, attorneys.
I did some of that work.
Right. So if I get a case on the district court level, and it might just be a simple domestic violence case, and I just need to interview 2 or 3 people, the average amount of money I get for a district court level case is anywhere between $300 and $500. All right. So,
Right.
all right. And then,
Right. But, right. Okay. I get it. Now,
Okay.
this brings up a joke that someone's told me about a lawyer. The lawyer goes to heaven, St. Peter's at the gate.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And because you charge by the hour, obviously. And so the lawyer goes to heaven, St. Peter's there. And he says, man, you look really good. St. Peter says to the lawyer, for somebody 117 years old. And the lawyer says, no, I'm 62. There must be a mistake. Can I go back?
Yeah.
And he says, no. We looked at all your billings, hourly billings. You have to be at least 117 years old.
Yeah, right. Well, and then it goes up to superior court level. So I get anywhere between $2,500 to $5,000 for a murder.
For murder
cases. Yeah, case.
Always add the
Not
case.
to murder
Always
someone.
add that. Yeah.
Case.
Jesus, trying to help you stay out of the.
So it all depends. And when I work as an investigator for the Commonwealth of Mass as a vendor, my hourly rate is, I won't say what it is, but it's capped at a certain amount by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So I keep that rate within the amount of money they give me. When I work privately, if I get a private case, a private homicide,
That's a bigger number.
then my hourly rate goes up to more the standard investigative rate here in Massachusetts. I try to keep it. If someone like yourself calls and says, yeah, this is Dr. Keith Ablow, then my rate.
The numbers go higher. I always worry about that when I hired a guy to make storm doors, right? For my humble abode here.
Yeah.
So he calls me, he's like, I'm going to fax over the quote. I get the quote, it's for $6,000. I'm like, dude, what are we making? I thought we were making wooden storm doors. He's like, well, we are. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not a thing. Like $6,000 storm doors.
Well,
he's like, well, we want to pay attention.
You're known. So therefore they're going to, they're going to be slimy and charge you a little bit more.
I know I had my great fall from grace and I'm just picking up the pieces now. And I would think they'd donate the storm doors.
Right. Yeah, quite possibly. And I mean, I have a market fair value rate. I'm not a wealthy man. I have a lot of kids and responsibilities. So if anyone wants to make a donation to me, that's, but
welcome.
Yeah. So anyways.
Yes.
Something you were talking earlier, and this seems to be your
thing.
Your soapbox. Your soapbox is
what is that?
You have your soapbox that you stand on, which is
it's called the truth.
which is the transgendery stuff. So
yeah, it's the leading edge of insanity in the world. So
in the news now is what's going around in the news right now is this athlete, Leah Thomas. Well,
yeah.
Leah Thomas is actually birth name, I believe, is Will Thomas. Leah Thomas declared himself one day, declared
female.
He declared himself a female. And now all of a sudden, Leah Thomas is setting all these Ivy League records in swimming. I think just won a gold or set a record in the 100, 200, 500 freestyle. And it's basically, you could say, destroying female sports. Now, look,
totally.
Me personally, it's twofold. I could give two fucking shits if Will wants to become Leah. Just like I could care less if you want to be Kathy Ablow and put a fucking wig on and
Katrina. Just so you know, it would be Katrina.
Katrina. Sorry, that's
well with a bit of a flair, Katrina.
Yes. I could care less. That's a personal choice. What I don't like is that female sports are being destroyed by this bully, I guess you could say, someone that, just to embarrass these girls, these athletes who maybe work their whole life to be on the swim team or go to an Ivy League school or, better themselves. And now some dude steps in, says he identifies as a chick, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, he well, to speak for the other.
But people, some states are standing up to this, but some states aren't standing up to this.
Right.
And again,
I
fucking care less what you want to be. Honestly, I could care less. It's your choice. It's your body. You can decide, but female sports are female sports. Male sports are male sports. That would be like me going and I do jujitsu tournaments. That would be like me showing up and saying, you know what? Today I'm Mark Chauppetta and I'm gonna start transitioning and I identify and I go and I just wipe the fucking mat with all these females because I'm physically, genetically stronger for the most part. It's just not.
Can you imagine? Are there female javelin throwers?
Yeah.
Probably, right. So can you imagine Bruce Jenner? What's his name now? Kylie? What?
Caitlyn.
Can you imagine Caitlyn Jenner in the Olympics back then competing against women? He was destroying the guys. He was like throwing the javelin, many feet further than other men from other nations could do it. Can you imagine him competing against women doing that? It would be like humiliating to them.
But Bruce Caitlyn is even against this. He's come out.
Well, there you go. Right. So it just would seem to be fair to say, listen, if you have the DNA and biology of a man, even if you're injecting yourself with estrogen, we can never get to the point where we think that you are without the muscle structure that God gave you and without the hormonal possibilities that God gave you. So we can't have you competing against other women. You could give them that against other women.
So why not
because
start
of your history as a male? You had a history as a male. Now I believe they're still female. I believe he's still male. That's the way I see the world. That's why people hate me. Okay, despise me. They're not ambivalent. They despise me. Some want me dead. I get death threats.
Well,
right.
I just feel like that these teammates that go to school with this person, this Leah Thomas, I think they're just afraid to speak out. And, because
I'm not afraid.
It's the craziest mob from what you see, and they will do anything to fucking destroy you. And they won't even look at, like I just said, I
want to perform in the Westminster Dog Show as a dog, as a canine. I will listen to my human trainer better than any other Afghan dog.
Right.
And I will be best of breed as an Afghan because I'll do it. I'll clap my paws. Oh my God, look at that Afghan.
Stand up on both feet.
But see this, can you see how it invades the psyche of everyone in the stadium, some of whom feel like they have to go, oh my God, she did incredible. Oh my God, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you know what?
There's no she doing incredible, you moron.
Why don't we compromise? All right. If there's enough people out there, males transitioning to females or females transitioning to males or whatever the case may be, why don't they create their own division and let them compete against each other? Right? Isn't that fair? Isn't that compromise?
They won't settle. That would be fair. That would be fair.
I mean, that's all
That's
I'm
a good
asking for
idea.
here. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And this group or this mob or these people who advocate for this or will destroy you for having an opinion, isn't it just come down to common sense? Like these
It's
girls.
funny how you don't have people doing the opposite. To my knowledge, you don't have women transitioning to men and then saying, I'm going to compete against male Olympic athletes, because they'll get smoked.
But what's
Why
this person thinking? This Leah Thomas thinking? Like she must be
Well, I
mentally
know what
challenged, because wouldn't anyone in their right mind say, you know what? I am a male. I'm stronger, I'm bigger, I'm faster, just like the $6 million man. And I'm gonna beat these women because my DNA isn't yet 100% altered.
Well, I think that let's go with she is advancing her worldview. Her worldview is, while you may think that women are born into women's anatomy, it is the case, she would say, that sometimes women are born into male anatomy. That's not our fault. We are still women.
Right.
And the proper place for women to compete is in women's sports. I've always been a girl, she would say. I was locked in a boy's body, and but you guys determine things as to gender. In terms of gender, I go with the female sports. And she might argue, look, there are taller people.
Right.
There are Mike Tysons in the world, and you look at his biceps, and it's like this. Could he have his own bicep group that he has to compete against? Because I could have fought him, I would have died in the ring.
But he's still
Is that fair?
But it's still a man facing a man.
Well, that's the way I like to look at the universe, but I can see how someone would say, you're just being very rigid. I am a woman, and women sometimes have the musculature of men because they're born into male bodies, and that's how it is. Suck it up.
I've been around wrestling my whole life, and there's a spattering of females that want to join the male wrestling team, and it's fine, it's accepted. We had one at our local high school here a few years ago, and
I don't like that.
Yeah, but she was wonderful, and she
Not wonderful.
But she competed against the boys, and she competed admirably. And I think the reason why she did it was now they've since started a female wrestling league, so now the females actually can wrestle against other females. But there's just not a lot yet. So some of them want to compete.
Why would females want to wrestle or box each other? I mean, I know I'm like a primitive throwback lunatic.
Yeah, but that's a silly question. That happens all the time. MMA, there's females that.
I know why.
Why? I mean, for the love of
to me, it's not. I know I'm like a throwback. I just said that.
For the
I'm
love of the
criticizing
sport,
myself. To me, it's not very female.
Right. For the love of the sport. I know plenty of females that attend that belong to my martial arts school, and
I like the martial arts thing, although.
But there is very much female. They, they're married, they date men, they whatever, I mean, they just for some reason like combat sports. I don't know why.
No, it's nice. I mean, it's nice, and by no means am I suggesting that girls should just be pretty and like enjoy ballet, but I even wonder about men who are ballet dancers. Why?
I don't know, because they can do it.
Can't we celebrate the differences?
I think that's fine. I think men
can celebrate the differences.
But men can be ballet dancers, and men can be cheerleaders, because it's not a physical sport. It's more of a finesse thing. And
George Bush was a cheerleader.
But society, I think, is just labeled, females as ballerinas and females as cheerleaders, and
do you know why that is?
Why?
No, I think I was hoping you were going to tell me.
I'm asking you. I thought you were playing doctor.
No, I asked you. No, I think the reason is because human beings actually probably conspired over many, many years, decades, centuries, many centuries,
Yes.
to accentuate the differences so that we would be attracted to one another in order to facilitate mating.
Yeah.
Why would women have opted for long hair by and large and
Right.
men not? Why would they paint their, put colors on their faces and men generally not? Now we're blurring the boundaries where like, oh, look at me. I'm a very masculine man. I have nail polish on.
Yeah.
We're losing our shit, dude.
I train with a guy in the morning. He wears nail polish. I mean, he's as heterosexual as they come. I don't know. It's just
I know.
It's a
I
form of
actually had
expression.
dinner with a guy in Argentina once when I was, in traveling more. Now there's COVID and everything else. And he came to dinner and he's so heterosexual, wearing a black long skirt and a black tight t-shirt. And I said to Alan, I said, the wonderful thing about you is you can wear that. And I saw the girls when you came in looking at you like longingly, like, look at this guy who's so out there and outrageous and, unafraid. If I wore it, the guys would be coming up to me.
Right.
For you, it's the girl. It's interesting. You got to carry yourself that way.
Had my best steak ever in Argentina.
I'm no fan of female boxing. Okay. I don't understand why females would want to punch each other in the face.
I know
men do that. Women, I don't think it's productive for women to do that.
Cringeworthy, but in a way, but also in some weird barbaric way, it's sort of sexy.
You turned on by it.
My wife probably smacked me for saying that, but in a way, I don't know, but all right. Well, we can talk.
I don't know.
We can explore this later because.
Well, why, if your son were going to wrestle a female wrestler,
yeah,
at high school level or college level, because they want to, whatever. I don't know. I would tell my son just forfeit.
Well, I mean, quick example. I saw this come up on social media the other day. It's wrestling season right now. If you're into wrestling or high school collegiate wrestling like I am, this is the time that everyone's having their state tournaments and their New England tournaments. And I saw a double amputee. Actually, I don't even think he was an amputee.
Wow.
He wasn't even an amputee. I think he was just born with. Won the state tournament. But
that's so great.
But he also competed against an able-bodied competitors. So that's a whole nother dynamic, because there's actually a fighter, Nick Newell, who maybe we can get on the show. He's got one arm, and
I would love to get him on the show.
So
what a champ.
I can get him on. He's got a nub.
What a champ.
And that actually hurts more than a fist when you're getting hit with that. But
that's interesting. Yep.
But what about the psychological side of that? When you're going up against that person, you're kind of like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you beat, so let's explore
it's
that.
Honoring that person. It's really honoring that person to do your best, right?
Explore that on another show. We got to wrap this
Blade
up.
Runner, by the way, was bullshit. He's in prison for murder. But the Blade Runner, remember him? He was a double amputee, but he's got like Teflon, like spring legs, and he's smoking everybody. That was another charade.
Right. That's great.
I can't. Well, let's do a double here. Let's do 2 hours or 3.
My wife's coming home soon. My wife's coming home soon.
Here.
I gotta take my Viagra and get ready.
Oh, that's right. It's your anniversary and you're becoming a grandfather possibly tonight or tomorrow. And here we are, the two of us like lunatics.
All right. Well, yeah, we're going to do this on another show, but everyone check out violentminds.com. Check out Dr. Keith Ablow and
KeithAblow.com.
Yeah.
Do you have a site, markchauppetta.com?
markchauppetta.online. It's all on violentminds.com.
Online? Who took the .com?
I have no fucking clue.
Someone took it?
No, my kids set it up for me. I don't know why they did online. I think it means something different.
Oh, I think they wanted to save like $11.
Yeah, maybe. That's probably what it was.
Got that for $1.
Cheap pricks. All right. On that note, everyone, thank you so much. Keep hanging on. You know the drill. We'll see you on the next show. Take care.
Got online. Unbelievable.